Hey, Cole, welcome back. Another finance update with Cole Mason from Mason Financing. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me again, Lee. I always appreciate being in your presence, mate.
You too. How was your swing this morning?
Yeah, it was
Played a bit
good.
of golf,
Nice
you
early
said?
game of golf. There was a few shots that went left, a few shots that went right, none that went straight. So I've
Okay.
got a few things to work on.
I tell you, it's a patience game, isn't it?
In fact, I said this to a guy I was playing with this morning. I said it's definitely one for mindset people. I think it plays with your mindset. I think you just got to stay focused, through that round. But it's a great game. I love it.
I think, like anything, it sort of probably puts you in a zone where you have to focus, and
Yep.
that can help focus when you come back into your business world,
100%. Well, it's a
maintaining
very
that
small
focus.
white ball that you've got to stay focused on for about 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
and that white ball's talking to you the whole way around. So,
I know a mate said to me when I started doing mountain bike riding, he goes, when you're mountain bike riding, you're just focused on riding. Like you don't think
yeah,
about anything else. And it's
yeah,
kind of meditative in that sense, isn't it?
100%. Well, my background, obviously I fly planes socially as well when I'm not doing mortgage broking. And the same thing, like when I'm up flying in the air, you've got to be focused the whole time, listening on the radio and watching outside the window. So it's, you've got to be focused.
It's good. So talk to us. You got a bit of a case study this week about a client of yours and one of these policy changes or enhancements that have happened with Suncorp. Talk to us through that experience.
Yeah, so I had a really unique case this week where a customer came in and wanted to refinance and do some personal loan debt consolidation. She couldn't service the loan that she had now with every single bank on our panel. Now we've got 70 odd different banks. The reason for that is that when she got the loan a couple of years ago, interest rates were a lot lower than what they are in today's market. So she could borrow the money 2 years ago, but now she couldn't borrow what she already had outstanding. So now she rents 3 rooms. She's got a 4-bedroom house. She rents 3 rooms to friends of hers, which she's been doing for quite some time, and had lease agreements in place with those friends. Suncorp is a bank that has now changed their policy where they will consider and accept board income in servicing. So she's gone from not being able to service the loan she's got now to being able to service the loan she's got now, and also borrow extra to consolidate a couple of personal loans. And her outcome is a saving of around $600 plus per month, and a better competitive interest rate too. So it was actually a win-win for her. No other bank will do it that we're aware of after doing some research, only Suncorp. So, and it's one of the more sort of better known banks too that's introduced that new policy. So good outcome for the clients.
So why was she looking to refinance?
It was more so just to try and reduce overhead. So she had those 2 personal loans. Her cost of living, like everyone's cost of living, has gone up as well. She's on great income, but like everyone these days, they're looking to save some money where they can. And a lot of people will look to their mortgage interest rates and their mortgage repayments to try and obviously soften the blow that comes out of their wallet every week, when they're making those payments. So having 2 personal loans as well, obviously, over a shorter term at a higher rate of interest, she was looking to try and consolidate those just so she had one mortgage repayment going forward, just to make it a bit easier for her, just through this current market, while these rates are higher. So that's why she came in for the chat.
Did she come off the fixed, the lower mortgage rates? Is that what was happening as well?
No, she stayed on variable the whole way through. So she's sort of gone up with the markets over the last couple of years, since she had that low variable rate. I think she said she started on around about 2.2%. Okay. So obviously she's gone up quite a lot since then. She was paying around 6.5% at the moment. We've got her on to 6.14. So a better interest rate on the mortgage, and also obviously consolidating those 2 personal loans, unsecured personal loans that she had, has saved her, as I said, about $600 plus per month.
Okay, so she was on a variable rate, which has increased obviously as the cash rate's gone up to a higher point. She couldn't, in the current, in her past lending criteria, she couldn't refinance based on that, but then you found a solution that could help her refinance with that boarding income.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's the importance of obviously what we do, in terms of the services that we offer. I mean, she had a look online, to be honest with you, before she got connected with us. Couldn't find any bank that was using that income, because Suncorp don't advertise that really online through Google and stuff like that. But obviously, being a broker, we obviously adapt to some of the new policies that are around the market, and obviously that was one of the new ones that I only spoke to Suncorp about 3 weeks ago, so it's relatively new. And that was why we were able to sort of jump onto that policy and help this customer in this instance.
Yeah, and I think that's indeed the benefit of talking to a broker like yourself and the team there at Mason Financing. is that you guys will really assess the needs of the client, and then because of your knowledge and your expertise, you can find a solution that often works. And I've had that experience with you guys time and time again, where we've had a client or a buyer in a unique situation that had tried to get finance through a bank directly or whatever it might have been, but then come to you and you found a solution that actually helped them get into a house.
Yeah, it's not like the old saying, not one glove fits all hands, so you've got to basically come in and get the advice. And if you're not giving yourself the choice at the moment, especially with the market the way that it is and rates changing so quickly, like I know in the last sort of podcasting that we did as well, we spoke about fixed rates and how they're jumping all around at the moment as well. So, and if you're not abreast of that day in, day out like we are, then you're probably going to make a mistake when you go and look at refinancing, or you're talking to maybe a friend at a barbecue on the weekend, who might have a good rate, but that rate mightn't be available anymore either, or that policy that they got onto mightn't be available anymore. So I think it's important just to keep yourself abreast of the market, speak to your broker, speak to us. Obviously, we're always happy to have a chat, even if it's just using this as a standing board, just to get a second opinion, even, just so that you're getting the right advice and the right choices.
So talking about, I saw some polls yesterday on mortgage stress, I suppose, and I think one said, there's about probably 30% that are feeling the pinch with their mortgages now. That have mortgages, obviously, with the cost of living pressures and obviously the cash rate or interest rate increases as well, and saying that going forward, it's not as bad as the media portrayed it was going to be, because they talked about this mortgage rate cliff, right, where everyone was going to go into devastation. It hasn't seemed to happen like that, but there is certainly people out there that are feeling the struggle of those increased mortgages. And I don't know if that figure is accurate, 30% of mortgage holders feeling that stress, and suggesting that 1 in 7 over the next 12 months will feel stressed enough to have to decide to sell some assets. In your world, because you're dealing with people every day with mortgages, what are you experiencing?
Oh, look, we're definitely having some discussions with clients that are feeling pressure from their mortgage rates at the moment. But I wouldn't say it's 1 in 7 or 1 in 10. I would say it's 1 in 40, 1 in 50, customers that we're talking to that are feeling the stress at the moment.
It's positive.
So it's not, I'm not seeing it as a big concern at the moment. I mean, keeping in mind, a lot of customers were able to save quite a lot of money through COVID and on the back of COVID too, because rates were low and they obviously had better cost of living back then before cost of living pressures changed. And they're still utilising some of those savings as well, using offset accounts and redraw facilities and things like that. So, so I think customers have been quite smart about their household living arrangements and debt repayments and whatnot as well. The one thing I would say is that if your mortgage repayment is more than sort of 45% of your net income per week or per month, then I think you need to have a chat to a broker and then find out whether you can actually soften that blow a little bit further, because we've had customers that are paying between 7 and 8% on a variable rate, coming off fixed, and thought that 7 to 8% was actually quite a competitive rate, where it isn't. And they're nearly, draining 50% of their net cash flow, which is their income, to pay that mortgage repayment per week or per month, like I said. So I think if you're paying more than 45% of your net income into your mortgage, something's got to change. I think you need to have a chat to a broker or your bank and go through that process of trying to reduce the rates down.
Yeah, perfect. That's a really good advice. And you're going back to, finding solutions for people. I speak to a lot of people that maybe have just moved here or have just gone out and set up their own business, maybe a tradie or something like that, setting up their own electrical company. And they've only been doing it for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it might be, and saying that they're getting a lot of knockbacks because they're so new and they haven't had like that 12 months backlog. You provide these kind of solutions, don't you, for buyers that are looking to refinance or buy?
Yeah, we do. Like, if you're self-employed in a relatively new business, there's ways around, I suppose, declaring income. There are low doc or alternate documentation loans where we supply just BAS to show turnover, or we can show business bank statements, for example, or we can just get an accountant to help verify your income as well. Although some accountants are backing away from signing declarations these days due to risk, due to licensing arrangements. But the other thing we speak to clients about who are self-employed quite often as well is if you're a director and a shareholder of your business and you pay yourself through wages and you report those wages through to the ATO, which is through your MyGov portal, then after 6 months, sometimes we can actually use those wages that you're paying yourself without any further BAS documents or tax returns, profit and loss, nothing like that. It's just the pay slips. So there are ways around it if you are self-employed. The best advice I can give you is to give us a call and we can go through the scenario, because every scenario is unique in itself, obviously, and they're all going to have their own advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, perfect. And what's your take on the market at the moment, Colin? As always, got to ask you that question.
It's always positive, you know that. So I think the talk of rates coming down before Christmas, I think, is really positive at the moment. I know the RBA is holding firm on, it's not on the agenda, but the big banks, and I think it's quite well known now, the big banks are looking to price a rate cut in before Christmas. We've got a September RBA update in the next few weeks, and we've got one in November, so we've got 2 more for the year. So we'll see what plays out there. But I'm sort of banking on, I think, 1 rate cut before Christmas, or if not early next year.
All right, yeah. I started to think it'll be early next year, based on everything that's going on, because we're seeing certainly a bit more movement in the marketplace now, a bit more demand. And I think this spring is going to be a fairly heavy market with homeowners coming to the market, but also that demand increasing as well, which will particularly happen if that rate drops.
100%. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I think there's a lot more positivity now than what there was, say, 3 or 6 months ago when there was just no talk of rate cuts this year.
And Sunshine Coast as a whole, what is your take? I get this question a lot, is that a lot of people say, do you feel the Sunshine Coast is rather insulated and that we won't be affected by, too much mass changes in the marketplace?
I still think there's a lot of development going on here. I mean, you've got 2 master plan communities, being Aura and also Harmony. So you've got those 2. You've got the airport, which is, there's a, communication there around the airport increasing in size and volume over the next sort of few years as well. I think you've got the council relaxing, sort of the medium to high rise towers around in preparation for the Olympics as well. So there'll be more development coming in to those, say the sort of Richmond CBD area, or those, more populated areas. So I don't see it as I don't see the Sunshine Coast sort of lacking in growth over the next sort of 2 to 3 years, even 5 years. I think we're going to have steady growth. I don't think it's going to be quick growth. I think it's going to be steady growth. I think from my perspective, in terms of the space that we work in, I think the banks are starting to relax policy as well to make it a little bit more easier for customers to get access to credit. And I think you'll see better changes over the next 6 to 12 months with banks as well.
Awesome. Love it, as always.
Yeah. Bit of news for a Friday morning.
Mason Finance updates for this week. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you reach out to Colin there at Mason Financing if you need anything. Colin, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Always a pleasure catching up with you.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Got an early start, so you got plenty of the day left.
You too, mate. And I'll look forward to catching up with you on the next one.
Will do. Cheers, eh? Thanks, guys.
Yeah,